Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today on Nothing About Nothing, we're going to be making a simple shelf that we're going to put over top of my TV. I just got some random scraps of wood that I've collected. Sometimes for little projects like this, I think that's one of the easiest ways to get the wood you need. If you're not trying to look like it's professionally made or anything, but we'll do our best and make it look nice either way. So first we're just gonna cut all the wood to size, and then we'll go from there. So as you can see, I got just 3 random lengths of wood scrap that I picked up. We're gonna let the wood dictate the size of this shelf. Basically, I have this larger piece that we'll put on top for the top part, and then we'll have an under shelf under that, and it's going to be a little bit narrower, which is fine. My wife just wants to put like some knickknacks and things that she doesn't want the kids playing with, so the length, again, we'll have to trim up this piece. I'll get all the measurements for that here shortly, but you know, this is something that you can just do on a whim if you have the right amount of wood. We'll use this shorter piece here. I got this off a piece of pallet, or this piece off of a pallet. I like to use pallet wood when I can because obviously free, but usually nice hardwood, and sometimes it just works out that way. But we'll use that for the spacing in between the top and the bottom shelf parts. So we'll get this trimmed up to length and go from there. Alright, so we're going to cut these metal brace pieces at 12 inches. So I'll have one on each end and then one in the center for support. Now we're going to do some Craig jig pocket hole screws. I'm going to do that into this wood because it's more hidden than if I try to do it on that wood, the main shelves. So there's markings on the jig to let you know the depth of or the thickness of your wood, and you just set your marker to that. I'm just verifying that I'm at the right size here. With this pallet wood, you get varying materials, so you kind of gotta make sure you measure everything. And I am at 5/8 inch thick. So there's a 5/8 inch mark, so I will set that on both sides. Got this vice grip clamp for the jig. Works best for this jig because it's a little place on top and you can secure it down to your workbench at the same time. I'm going to go grab a piece of test wood and then we'll try the jig out first. Well, apparently I grabbed the thickest piece of pallet wood that I had laying over there, so this is as close as I get. Alright, so that holds the jig in place. It's time for a driver style connection. So we'll just put this in the old DeWalt here. You could put it in a normal drill. There you go. Your pockets, screws ready. Lighting in here is horrible. I need to get better lighting. So that should be okay. What I'm going to do, instead of drilling right in the middle, I'm going to do one on one edge and then one on the other edge of the board. Alright, one down, two more to go. Bring it back when I'm finished with those. Okay, we got all of the holes done for the pocket screws. We got some imperfections in the pallet, of course, so we're going to Put some wood fill in those, sand them up, and same with this other scrap wood. A few holes that will fill in, and then sand everything up. And then I'll bring it back when that's done. So when I get it on there real thick, shove it down in your holes. It's okay if there's a little extra on there, sand off. You know. Alright, we'll let that dry. Usually sets up in a few hours, but I like to give it overnight, so we'll come back tomorrow and get the sanding. See you then. Alright guys, we got the pieces rough sanded. We'll do some more sanding once we get it all assembled, glued up, and fill in the holes for the Craig jig hidden pocket screws. And then we'll fine sand it and then stain it. I already got my lines marked on the boards, and we'll just put some glue down and screw it together. There's no real plans, rhyme or reason to this, the dimensions. I just used what I had, and get creative, do your own thing, you know. I always feel woodworking is 90% art and 10% technical, so make it your own. But yeah, worst case is if we don't like it after a while, we'll just take it down and do something else. So again, this is scrap wood, so it was free to me, and yeah, just using 1-inch Craig screws. What's the thickness of the wood here? So Okay, so got it set in there. I don't use any kind of bracing, but the screws can just hold it. It's pretty straight. So we'll let the glue set up. I'm probably going to putty in these pocket screws. Any kind of area that needs touching up, and let it dry, and then we'll come back and stain her up. So, alright, we'll go from there. You can see I went pretty heavy on the putty, the wood putty to put in there, so that get those holes filled in. This putty is supposed to be stainable, so we'll see, but I'm sure there's going to be some part of it that will show up when we go to stain it. I'm not going to be too worried. We're going to use a very dark stain. I'm hoping that will penetrate that filler and make it look dark. If worst case, it looks dark spots rather than light spots. So, yep. So we'll let that dry. We'll come back and do some finish sanding, and then we'll stain. All right. See you guys then. Okay, guys. We just finished sanding this shelf, and it's silky smooth and ready to be applying the stain. I'm going to be putting a dark stain on here. It'll hide the differences, hopefully, in the different types of wood that I've combined using the scrap pieces for this project. But using a 2-in-1 stain in polyurethane should give it a nice satiny texture. Obviously we'll do one stain, and then I like to run it over with a steel wool, and then apply another coat, steel wool. If it's good, after that, well, we won't do any more, but if it still needs one more, maybe we'll do a third coat on it. So we'll get going on that process and bring it back when it's all done. Alright guys, so there you have it. I got 3 coats of the stain and poly dual applicant, and looks pretty good. Wanted it real dark, again, hide any flaws and the differences in wood types that I used when making this. And I just wanted to point out, I added these pocket screw holes on the backs for the back side because this is gonna look like a floating kind of shelf, not hanging. So I'm gonna screw it directly into the wall. I had to figure out where my studs were and then measure where to put those holes on the shelf so that I can just screw right in. You can tell they're not in the center of it, obviously. So yeah, and we'll just do a final walk around of this, and then I'll show you when I got it all hung up. So there she is, all hung up. Pocket screws into the studs. That'll be a nice little shelf over the TV. Alright guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.